Wow, we just got back from Hacksaw Ridge, and Jesus.
I think it's safe to say Mel Gibson has not totally lost his mind. Right? So he has not gone completely crazy.
Because all the controversies and stuff. Well, I don't know about what he had said, and all that stuff, but I know that he's a damn fine director. Okay?
Oh, yeah.
Because this film was fucking amazing. This was a film about family, courage, the war, conviction in your beliefs, and it was done picture perfect. This has to be one of the most violent, bloody, guts everywhere, almost veering into gore fest and horror type of film.
It didn't shy away from the horrors of war. Like it showed you straight up. This is how war
and I like that. So know that going in that this is one of the more realistic depictions of war since Saving Private Ryan. Remember when that came out? Everyone was, and then Black Hawk Down. It just keeps getting realer and realer. And what we have here is. Be prepared. If you have a weak stomach, then you might want to consider watching this at home, where you can fast forward or pause. But I appreciated the full effect, and it's kind of ironic how a film that is so bloody and shows the horrors of war is truly a story about pacifism and trying to stick by your virtues and your convictions,
sticking up for what you believe in.
Yeah, so we have
all odds.
So we have a main character here named Desmond Doss, and this is a true story. And I didn't know this story.
Yeah,
and I'm glad I did. I'm glad I know this story now, because this one is a story that you need to go out and see. And this film honors the man's sacrifice, his courage, all of the troops that fought in Okinawa, Japan, and they are and so this is I just can't say I can't find any negatives with the film.
No, it was perfect.
Yeah, so Desmond Doss starts off in the South, and he's got kind of a little twang. Andrew Garfield doing his Southern accent, which I bought, but he does have a little of a goofy personality.
Yeah,
he's a goofy guy.
Gump thing.
You saw that? You got that? I got a little bit of that. He's a lovable guy.
So Gump.
I think that he did that. He was doing that in his performance in order to make him more lovable. Yeah, the beginning after the film where he meets the nurse, the love interest, his wife, and it's all drummed up. It's like this rosy, shiny, bright version of America.
Awkward, funny.
It was done well. Yes, it was goofy, but it makes you care about him and identify with him. And so obviously the country is going to war, and young men are signing up, and he feels the need he says, well, I can't let everybody else sign up to the war without going myself. And so he's got this strong sense of duty. However, in his faith, and as a result of things that happened when he was a child, when he was playing around with number one, with his brother, getting into a fight with his brother, and we'll let you escalating. We'll let you see that, and then in addition to the family having religious beliefs, he decides that using guns and holding guns and taking another life is something that he will never do, even though he wants to go to war and do his duty for his country. But he wants to be a combat medic, and now if I was a military, I'd let him. I'd be like, okay, fine. You don't want to use a gun? That's fine. Just run around. That's what medics do.
Said, it's like, oh, sure, just sign on in.
Sure. I missed that part. Yeah. I was like, he's like, I was allowed to, or lied to.
Basically, obviously, he was lied to, and then once he signed up, he's like, no, they told me I didn't have to do any kind of rifle training.
And they threw him in the rifleman group because they probably need a lot more riflemen, right?
Well, they thought he'd give in, and he didn't.
Yeah, and that's another thing. So he gets to boot camp, and we get the story of the boot camp as well. And I was like, man, this film is great. It's up against those like Forrest Gump and Saving Private Ryan, and even Full Metal Jacket, where we get to go with him on this journey and get the full character arc. So he's in there, and at first everybody seems chummy with him until they realize what his belief is that I'm not going to hold a weapon. And so they might like him, but at that point when they learn that, they said, this fucker is not going to fucking protect me when it comes right down to it. I'm going to die. He's going to die.
They're basically
and
trying
they
to turn him against everybody.
Yeah, and even the sergeants and the colonel hate him and want to turn the whole company against him. So he is viciously beat. He is an outcast, and it's just hard not to feel for him in this situation when he's just trying to do what he feels is the right thing. And I must make an admission. If somebody was like, I'm not going to fight, I'm not going to shoot a gun,
like,
I'll be like, you motherfucker, you better shoot that gun, right? So I would have a little bit of prejudice. And so it's interesting because you're watching it from this neutral standpoint and trying to make a decision on what you think is real right.
Just do it. I feel so bad for him.
So it really involves you emotionally in the film, and then finally they go off to war, and it is horrific, man. They go into the Pacific Theater. You thought that the European theater is crazy. The Pacific Theater, they're fighting on basically a sheer rock where you have to climb up a net and then make a charge, right? Yeah, sure. The Navy will try to clear the area, but the Japanese had these extensive tunnels underground.
Basically, they're just waiting for them.
And it's just like this slaughter, and that's what we tell you. It's a meat grinder. And as I'm watching the film, I'm like, man, this is, no. But when you think about it, when you actually put the realities of war, it's probably like that. They're closer than you think. Yeah. You know what I mean? And just machine guns are going off as you're firing here. Some maybe over here that they received a charge. And it is, as an action fan, I thought, okay, this movie's gonna have religious undertones. It's gonna be light. It's gonna be friendly. It's gonna be family this, family that. Back. No, this is a pure freaking war film, and it is just entertaining. It's a lot of action, and this is a real depiction of war. And I thought by showing it so brutally, I thought Mel Gibson was making a commentary on how horrible war is. And it's you want to go to war?
It was even more shocking because the movie does start out all nice and happy and everything is awesome. And then all of a sudden, bam, you're in the hell of war. And it's just like, whoa.
You guys need to see this on the big screen. I highly recommend you. I can already tell you, yes, the film is worth your money. Yeah, October and November have been insane with games, and so you're running low on money. Or if you've been saving your money, go spend your money on Hacksaw Ridge. Because it deserves your money. The man's story deserves to be heard and been honored in such an awesome way. I don't know how truthfully accurate every single thing is. I'm sure there's some embellishments here and there, but honestly, I don't give a fuck because what he did, and even at the end of the film, they show footage of the real Desmond Doss, and he did rescue, I think I read something 75 people.
75.
Yeah.
And
that's incredible.
Right. So, Joe, what about any of the performances? Did you like any of the actors in particular?
Yeah, Garfield really portrayed everything. Like emotion, I almost teared up.
Yeah.
Like the tension was real in the combat. Like this whole movie made me feel all these feelings.
Yeah, no, Joe,
there was a feels roller coaster.
I was like,
it really
stop
was.
tugging on my strings. This is like a great
Joe,
movie.
I'm a man, and I will admit I cried.
Yeah.
I did cry. I cried when look, I'm not a religious man. I'm not an overly religious man. But when he said, please God help me to get one more. You know, when it is like the most chaos. There's fucking artillery coming down, explosions everywhere, people bleeding, and Japanese charging and gunfire going everywhere, and the whole his battalion has retreated and he's left behind, and it's this situation where he's got to rescue basically a lot of men who were deserted. Home. They deserted the men, and he was the one that can go there and get him, and he went to go get one more. He's like, please God, let me get one more. And I'm like, oh my God, that shit is so, inspiring. And when he's carrying guys and they go a little slow-mo, I'm like, oh, that really does hit you in the feels. So this movie has the feels, and you buy it and you believe it. You say, oh, that's insane. No person would go without a gun, or when he's getting beat up and thrown in jail because he doesn't want to use a weapon, he would give up. But
that was crazy to me was he dragged 75 people.
Yeah, that's to make any damn sense.
After like 2 people, I don't think I could do it anymore.
I mean, he was skinny. He was a thin guy like you. Yeah, I'm like, damn, man, that guy has.
You're like 6'6" guys.
It's very possible that shit was a real miracle. 75 freaking soldiers, 72 soldiers.
I've always had a high respect for the armed forces, but that just solidifies it even more.
You guys,
like, holy shit.
And you believe it too. And I was about to say, they do a flashback, and they actually do a little bit about why he, feels his way about the gun, because they have a subplot with his father, and his father fought in the Great War. And he even still has his World War I uniform, which was freaking awesome to see some World War I uniform show up amongst the World War II uniforms while his son is being court-martialed, and his father wants to help his son. But it hides a darker secret, a family secret that really gave Desmond Doss's motivation to never use a gun. And I don't want to spoil that for you, but it really is portrayed fantastically to where you believe in his conviction.
Yeah, it's completely believable. Mm-hmm. Like, there's no stretch of the mind there. Like, if that happened to me, I'd probably feel the same way.
Yeah, and the movie is paced so perfectly. There are moments of high action, and then there's like that calm before the storm. Like, it goes into scenes at night, and he even has a dream at one point.
Waiting for something to happen. You're like, oh my god.
You're like, oh my god. Could you imagine really being on Hacksaw Ridge and say you made it through the hell? Like, I would not go to sleep. Like, what do you mean? I'll go and watch you get some shut-eye. No, fuck you.
We're both staying watch.
I am awake.
But even at that point, he still would not get a gun. He's like, no, I'm good. I was like, oh my god, how does he not do it? Like, I would be like so scared.
So let's talk a little bit about what's probably what some critics may have mentioned is the religious undertones in the film. Now, Mel Gibson made Passion of the Christ, and I think he's the darling child of a lot of very conservative religious people, and they love his films because he made such a good film about the Passion of the Christ. And in this film, there are religious undertones. There are moments where he talks at length. He really cares about his Bible, and he talks about the teachings of the Lord. But it's so subtle and so done so well that. Look, I hate it when people shove religion down my throat, or when there's a political message in the film.
Like, he wasn't trying to convert anybody. He was like, you need to listen to this.
He doesn't do that.
This is my beliefs, and I was totally okay with that.
It's done so well. So all the religious stuff inspires you, and it says, if he can have that kind of faith, if he can have that kind of courage born from his faith, maybe there's something there that I need to listen to, rather than, other films that try to ram this shit down your stomach and go on soapboxes and the main character
punch kids in the chest.
Or punch kids in the chest. The pastor that hit that guy in the chest.
A kid.
I led that man to the Lord that day. You guys need to see the video. I'm playing in the background. But anyway, so that is not what to do.
No.
And this is what to do. So Mel Gibson does a great job portraying religious, faith in the most positive light that's inspiring to somebody who's non-religious that might see the good in that and the help that can come from it. So a fantastic job there, honestly. Let's see, the everybody put together some of the greatest performances. What's that guy's name?
Vaughn.
Vince Vaughn.
Vince Vaughn was his sergeant.
I was like, when I first saw him on screen, I gotta say, I'm like, okay, in the review, I'm gonna be like, no, Vince Vaughn, out of place, shouldn't be there.
He's gonna throw unnecessary comedy in
right,
there,
But he did.
No, he was straight up Sergeant Hartman. It was great.
Yeah, it was totally great. You get a little bit of the sergeant ribbing, where all the soldiers are standing at attention, and he's going by and making fun of each of them. It's fucking fantastic. Yeah. And initially, I was like, no, Vince Vaughn has been miscast here. I don't want him here. Comedy, no. But he really earns his place in the film as well. And you buy him as the sergeant. And There's a moment in the film where he is in trouble, and it really gets you at the edge of your seat. So, and enough said on that, man. I can't say enough good things about this film. I want you to go out and buy this, buy tickets to this to go see it because it's really good.
DVD.
Yeah, I will buy the DVD.
Yeah.
I love these types of war
Hugo
films,
Weaving was
especially.
amazing.
Yes, Hugo Weaving. I was like, what's the guy's name? Hugo Weaving.
He was amazing.
Amazing as the father, a tortured soul from World War I, and you can tell that a lot of his inner demons that causes him to act
he's
out.
got a lot of baggage.
Yeah, a lot of baggage.
Well, he
You can
lost
tell
all his
that,
friends.
but you can tell that it comes from World War I. So he has this portrayal of this man that you don't want to hate. You should hate him for like all the kind of stuff that he is, but at the same time you respect him, you understand him, and it's like a tragic thing. And he doesn't want to see his sons go through this as his sons decide to enlist on the army. And there are so many multiple aspects to this film. We can't say good enough things about it, but let's keep it short and just tell you guys to go out and see the film and give you some final verdicts. So we'll start with Joe. Joe, what did you feel that the film should earn?
A 10 out of 10.
Wow! All right. Okay.
Like, seriously, I was fulfilled.
Yeah, well, I can't figure. Let's find a flaw. Well, what's the flaw? No flaws.
Because I was like, all right, well, what's the story behind the whole gun thing? They told me about that story. They told me like there was some love interest, which was pretty well.
It's real.
Yeah,
That's his wife.
Yeah,
and his story and how'd you feel about maybe? Let's look for something. The depiction of the Japanese. Did you feel that was done right? They were the enemy at that time, so they're showing his enemies.
And the tension, oh my God, the tension is like wave after wave. I was like, how are they going to get through this? And
you wonder, and when you have lines in movies like, we tried to take that hill 6 times and we weren't able to do it, and you try to visualize what that looks like when a whole battalion tries to take a position and then is run off. I mean, an entire battalion of soldiers with machine guns and heavy emplacements, and it shows you how that happens. Just a charge from the Japanese with so many soldiers and all these Americans, just trying to wake up, and they don't know how many are coming at them. They really don't know what's out there, and then they're coming in, and so it's this fighting retreat, and it is just so it works as a action film. It works as a war film. It works as an inspiring story. It works as a religious kind of faith-based film. It works on all aspects. So I tend to agree with you. What about you,
10
Ben?
out of 10.
10 out of 10.
It's definitely a movie that I think everyone should see.
I want to buy the DVD.
It's a story that needs to be told.
Yeah, and it's done very well. And you know what, man? If it wasn't Mel Gibson and if he didn't fuck up and talk all this shit about different minority groups, he might have been
crazy now.
Well, no, Joe didn't necessarily clear. He did apologize for all that stuff, but I would think to myself, like, if this was done by any other director besides Mel Gibson, he might get an Oscar for this, or this film might win something. It deserves to win something. And I'm going to check on to see if this film gets passed over or looked over, because, they're like, no, that's Mel Gibson, fuck him. I don't want to have anything to do with him, and he's not getting anything. So that would be fucked up, because this film is fantastic. Now, I really want to give it a 10, and I have not given a film a 10 out of 10 yet, so I'm a little nervous too. I like to watch films multiple times before I give it a 10. I'm giving it a 9, but really, this thing probably deserves a 10. I just have to watch it again, and I really can't find any flaws with it. Yes, he has a goofy depiction, and it's more an idealistic version of America, but that's not the point of this film.
He even said he didn't have much schooling, so...
Yeah. Oh, so to make him a little goofy on that? Well, I'm talking about maybe they paint a rosy picture of America. They don't show a lot of different minorities. It's very white, and it's very, idealistic, but that's not the story they're trying to tell. In fact, in that time, I'm sure that it was like that. They're trying to be realistic. Same thing with the Japanese depiction in this film. Mm-hmm. They don't sugarcoat, that, and they don't try to play off that, and there's moments in the film where he ends up confronting a Japanese soldier and even helping a Japanese soldier. So I can't find faults there. I can't find faults there. I honestly,
on that one, I would have
right.
I can't believe
there were so many opportunities to mess up in the film, and maybe some critics might be like, "Oh, the blood and gore is too much. Mel Gibson is just having way too much fun with this, and he's he enjoys this." No, the message he's trying to put forth is like, you want to go to war, this is what war is. Okay? And you know what? The shit that happens in this film isn't even as horrific as real war. And that's what he's saying. So, 10 out of 10. I'm doing it. It deserves it.
Okay,
10 out of 10. I want you guys to go out and see this film. It's freaking awesome.
Finally 10 out of 10 all the way across.
Yeah, so check it out. It's paced very well. It is, maybe they could have thrown more content in and gone, but it's a simple story. You don't need to.
If they would have put more, it would have been like all drawn out.
I think it's perfect as it was.
Yeah.
Because they showed him all the way from a kid all the way up.
Exactly. And it's not like this is the battle that's going to win World War II. No, it's none of that. It's telling you a story from beginning to end. And yes, it's not always idealistic here and there, but they really showed it off in an inspiring way. And you definitely deserve to treat yourself to the film. So go out and see it. And we will see you guys on the next Angry Joe Show. Bye,
See you guys.
See you later.